يضل معبى.
Oh, yeah.
Hi Rima, how are you today?
I'm really well. Dr. Zeina, how are you?
I'm fine. It's such a pleasure having you with us here in this expert talk. And today we're going to be talking a bit about personal growth. And رح نخلط عربي وإنجليش all the women out there يسمعونا، مع إنه أنا وياكي بنحكي كتير إنجليش مع بعض يعني.
مظبوط.
uh, before we start, Rima, give me a bit of اعطيني background شوي عنك، عن شو بتعملي.
Sure. أولا, thank you for the invite and for having me on. أنا خلقانة بلبنان. I moved to Australia, migrated to Australia with my family in 86. I grew up in Australia. صار لي بالخليج تقريبا 21 سنة. I am a single mom. I am a lawyer by profession, specifically in mergers and acquisitions and investments on behalf of sovereign wealth funds, international acquisitions. I've been through quite a few changes and a few environments, but all has been, alhamdulillah, positive to date. In retrospect.
In retrospect, I love
In
that.
retrospect. Yeah, because you go through things and you're like, oh my God, شو عملت بحالي? Oh my God, ليش أنا هون? And then when you sit down and you consider it really, every single thing it was all a stepping stone.
Yeah,
One thing led to the other.
yeah, but we
And
don't know
that's a
it.
blessing.
Yeah, and we really don't know it at the time. يعني
مظبوط.
it's like we get very frustrated وبننزعج من حالنا وبنكسر حالنا وكذا،
Yeah,
بعدين بنفهم
yeah.
القيمة بعدين.
Mm.
That's quite a journey لهلا. يعني I'm so grateful that أخذت الوقت إنك تكوني معنا اليوم وتعطينا شوي من الوزدم لكل الحضور تبع Executive Women and beyond that، لأنه I think all of us women need this experience from others، يعني الأكبر الأصغر، لأن كل واحد منا بيقطع بإكسبيرينس معينة that is totally different عن التاني. And all of these experiences, so we take them in without judgment, then بيكون a learning experience لنا كلنا. But I thank you for doing this. And اليوم موضوعنا هو personal growth.
Yeah.
أول شيء أنت how do you define personal growth لإلك؟
To be frank, personal growth is not necessarily something that it's a journey that you are aware of, that you take yourself on, because you are aware of certain goals that you want to achieve, certain positions you want to hold, and can physical ولا metaphorical in the sense. But also personal growth is about the journey that you are placed on, and how you react, and how you make use of the tools that you are served by life, and how to use them to enable you to grow. And sometimes that growth is not necessarily something that you choose or that you are intending. You could find yourself in retrospect, and we were just talking about that, you could find yourself in retrospect having grown considerably when you look at the journey that you're on and where you are today. But it's about, like you said, just in your introduction, it's about sharing those experiences, because not only do you want to share your experience with others so they can benefit from both the negatives and the positives, but also because by being vocal and communicating with others, you also learn about yourself.
Absolutely. You said a keyword at the beginning of this, and you said you have to have the awareness.
Mm.
Um, of that personal growth. And I think also إنه هيدا it's key. هلا مش دايما بيكون عندنا هذا الاويرنس، لانه اوقات بنكون انه مفكرين انه عندنا this awareness but ما بيكون awareness. بس I think more and more as we move من generation لgeneration، من Gen Xers للمillennials للGen Zers، I think this awareness عم نشوفها it's growing more and more with these
Yes.
generations. مثل كأنه the healing يلي the other generations عم تعملها، الجنريشنز اللي عم تطلع كأنه عندهم هالإدراك أكتر منا نحن وبسرعة أكتر. وهيدا بعتقد موضوع كتير مهم تا واحد يقدر يعمل personal growth، لأنه إذا أنت in denial ما فيك to embark، لأنه بيكون عندك this closed mindset and the learnings from كل شيء عم تختبريه. I don't think إنه بيعلمك. What happens is it blocks you even more. So I love وقت قلتي this key word of awareness, being attentive and having the intention of looking at things, and how crucial this is for our development and moving forward.
So there's two things there, I think. And also we need to give credit where credit is due and understand what we are capable of. هلا أولاً communication and learning how to be aware. مظبوط, exactly what you just said right now with regards to generations. It differs from generation to generation, the way that we look ourselves. My generation looked at what growth was and what considered what growth was. My daughter's generation has a different perspective of what growth is, and how to go about growing. Whereas I might look at somebody at her generation going, okay, you're actually hindering growth because you're not doing this and you're not doing that. But then she will turn around and say, Mama, but on the contrary, you're burning yourself out, and I don't need all of this in order to grow. I need to focus on me and my mental health, and I need to do X, Y, Z. So this is where understanding or giving credit to the fact that growth differs from generation to generation, and the ability to accept growth, accept our limitations as well. لأنه ما فينا نقارن حالنا and our journey with somebody else. We can hear about somebody else's journey. We can take certain lessons from somebody else's journey, but I might not be capable of the same path as you. I need to find my own path.
Absolutely.
So the awareness is super important, because awareness is not only about what you think you want or what you think is good for you, but what am I actually capable of, and what is it actually would make me happy? I'm a corporate lawyer. That's not going to make somebody else as happy as it makes me, and that's okay. I am pushing myself to learn about myself even more in my 40s than I ever did in my 20s and 30s. Whereas other people in their 40s might be thinking, you know what? I've been there, I've done that. I want to chill right now.
Yeah.
I see some women are, it's not that they fear growth, but they don't want to be a copy-paste version of somebody else. So it's that concern, no, are you pushing something on me that is not me? It's not what I'm considering. I think the awareness is so super important, because it's not awareness about who you are and what your needs are, but also what your capabilities and whether you are open to challenge your capabilities.
I love that so much. This is why أنا بحب coaching كتير. And I'm a great advocate of coaching, and I coach and I mentor and all of that. One of the things that we teach in our coaching schools is you have to see if that person you are working with is coachable أول شيء.
مظبوط.
تاني شيء وينه هو stages of change. في stages of change بنعلمهم you know, you have to have that conversation تفهموا basically قد ايه هو موجود من awareness piece is does he want to dive there, and it's always the piece about fear that you just mentioned لأنه it's not fear of growth per se, لا they're fear of themselves most of the time. لأنه واحد بيفزع أو شو بده يشوف أو شو بده يلاقي بقى بيسكر بالسبكونشس، معقول يسكر.
Ramifications, yeah.
Yeah. So هل acceptance of where we are and ready to
Yeah.
face those limitations, to face ourselves, to
Mm.
تقدري تعملي the growth is a very big journey in moving forward. And I think this leads us into, so awareness as a first point definitely is a key. Acknowledging our limitations and boundaries is a different element. So in your experience as a corporate lawyer, as a woman, as a mother, as a, you know, as a single mom, and, you know, living across worlds and different cultures, what do you think are the benefits of all of this?
Gosh, there's so many. لأنه migrating, أول مرة I migrated at the age of 8, 9. That was ripping somebody out from one environment to another and being reborn, if you like, غصباً عن واحد, into a completely different environment, different culture, without a choice, different family.
Wow.
Because I didn't know I grew up with my mother's family بلبنان, وبأستراليا كان أهل بيي. So I never knew them because they migrated before I was born and as I, you know, after my birth. Not only was I forced to, you know, learn about a new culture, but then you've got a subculture that is your family that you're getting to learn because, you know, family is family, فلازم يكون واحد عادي يعني، بس تلاقي حالك لا ما مش عادي لأنه هي بيئة غير بيئتي. My sisters and I were one of 3 Arab families in our school, and we were the only ones that are first generation migrants.
Wow.
بيئتنا أنا وإخواتي كانت كمان بتختلف عن بيئة بعد العرب ولا اللبنانية اللي كانوا موجودين معنا. You know, they speak the same language,
Yeah.
but completely different mindset. You know, you're changing your complete mindset من لبنان وحرب to Australia in the 80s.
Wow. That's
بعدين
a big
then
change. Like,
it
wow.
is a huge change. And then but what's interesting is that the first time I accepted that change was in 1993. I was learning Japanese, and I was involved in a student exchange program. And so I went over and stayed in Tokyo, in Saitama, with a host family. And that, again, was a chosen change of environment completely. But it completely forced me out of my shell. And ما بعرف كيف بدي أقول لك، مثل كأنه زرعت لي a passion for looking for change and looking for the different. What is on the other side?
Wow. So you were in your late teens or
I turned 16 in Japan.
Yeah. Wow.
So I hated everything around me from the age of 8, 9 to the age of 15 لأنه I did not belong. I did not belong بالبيئة اللي كنت موجودة فيها، إن كان بالعائلة ولا إن كان بالمدرسة ولا إن كان everything's changed and I didn't like any of it. The chosen change as opposed to the forced change of something that I was passionate about and had an interest in made me look at change in a different perspective, in a different light. فأنا من وقتها I love to travel. I love to experience new cultures, but on my terms. And this is something that I discovered later on in life. And that it's not about It's not about the process. It's about the fact that I choose my own boundaries and rules. But then coming out of, so I moved to Bahrain with a 3-week-old daughter in 2003. كمان into a completely new environment. I'd never lived in the Middle East before, غير قصة إنه لبنان لما كنت صغيرة. بحرين لا بفهم، هن بيفهموا علي، أنا ما بفهم عليهم. وأكشلي اللغة العربية كانت عندي كتير مكسرة. I learned Arabic while there. Lived there for 18 years and had 2 children, raised 2 children, and then chose to move على الإمارات during the pandemic 3.5 years ago. Now I look back and I think, okay, I'm kind of like addicted to change. إنه after a while, it seems إنه I have, I wouldn't say I have issues, but إنه after, I don't like feeling settled. There's got to be more out there. You have to يعني من الموضوع السلبي اللي الواحد إنه يهاجر من بيئته وبلده وعائلته to, you know what, I need to be resilient and I need to ensure that wherever I land, I should be able to pick up and go. This is not common for everybody. It's unique. But by the same token, there's a lot of inhibitions that I had along the way. يعني هلا I look at the changes that I made in my 40s وبطلع على issues that I had in my 20s and 30s. إنه طيب كان في I saw the red flags in my life وكان في أداويهم to address them وكذا. ليش ما سويت هيك? And it's that concern of, if I was to change, number one, am I ready to change? Because I know if I was to inflict certain elements of change, that's going to have a domino effect to everybody around me. Am I ready to do that? Am I capable of doing that? Will I withstand it? And now I cut myself slack and I say that, and I recognize, I should say, no, I wasn't fully ready until I reached my 40s. So there are sometimes wishes for change that somebody might have, but you know that you're not fully capable of it just yet. So you still need to work on yourself and certain elements in your life in order to be ready for the storm, to weather the storm.
So when mentioning all of that, and wow, what a journey, what do you think were the benefits in that, you know?
The benefits are that I continued learning. I continued growing from, when I say growing, what was growing? Growing was, for me over the years, living in different countries, learning how to deal with different cultures, learning who I was and what role I played in society, where, learning how to mitigate certain elements of change and how to negotiate certain social situations. يعني بتذكر أول وظيفة أخذتها بالبحرين قالوا لي، انصدموا فيني, not in a good way. انصدموا فيني أنه I was too, they saw me as being too harsh and too corporate and too Australian. Wow, أنا بأستراليا I'm not considered too Australian, I'm considered too Lebanese. Here I was not considered Lebanese enough. يعني انقالت الكلمة إلي أنه ترى نحن فكرنا أنه وظفنا محامية لبنانية. قلت لهم لكن أنا شو؟ لا, this is not what we're expecting. فوقتها كلت صدمة أنه what people's perceptions were of what I looked like versus what I sounded like or what I acted like. And then how to use those to my advantage. يعني هلا بعد 21 سنة بالخليج صرت أعرف إمتى نكون لبنانية وإمتى نكون أسترالية. مع كل واحد كيف بده يتعامل.
So it's the learning. So you had a lot of learning. يعني on a lot of learning, a lot of mitigation of situations, a lot of, and that benefited you immensely. um, at a personal level and at a professional level,
مزبوط.
especially when dealing with different cultures. هذا اللي عم بفهمه.
100%. بس كمان it benefited me in the manner that I raise my kids, because I noticed يعني قديش أنا نفسيتي تعبت لما حدا يسألني أنت من وين؟ اوكي لبنان، لا خلقانه بلبنان، لا لا استراليا's هوم، لا هلا صار لي 21 سنه برا. هلا no, I'm a 21st century Bedouin. My kids بتذكر يمرقوا يعني each one there's 5 years between them، كل واحد يمرق مرحله يكون هلا استرالي، لا هلا لبناني، لا هلا بحريني، لا هلا كذا. and I had no issues with that. I never at one stage said you are كذا, this is your pigeonhole. لا, you be whatever you want to be. This is who mom is, this is who dad is, this is where we grew up, this is where our families are, this is where you've been born into and where you've grown. The world is your oyster. You pick and choose. Don't let anybody choose for you.
That's the benefit.
That is a huge benefit. لأنه we are now in such a connected small world that we can no longer, I don't personally believe that we can no longer rear our kids in the manner that we grew up in.
Absolutely not. You are
even mentality wise.
ايه اكيد، لانه عم بتكوني عم تجني عليهم، يعني اذا عم تعملي هيك اصلا، اذا ربيتيهم بهالمنتاليتي هيدي. So this gets us to embracing change.
Yeah.
How are you able to do that? What strength استعملتي برأيك انت هلا by looking back at the journey, you know, what strength did you use to embrace that change?
I would like to get philosophical on you and have a wonderful answer, but I don't have an answer.
You don't have to be.
لا, it was taking day by day. يعني على طول بنسأل إنه مثلا even from a corporate perspective, إنه you're breaking glass ceilings وأنت you set out on them. Like, no, I didn't set out on this. I was doing my job. ماشي بروح بساوي لشغلي، برجع على البيت بشيل سكاكين من ظهري، بداوي حالي, we move on and we proceed, right? No matter what challenge you face, you've got a job to do, you do it. By doing your job, you will inadvertently move from one step to the other because you've got your eye on the prize. I think the strength or the main key here is not to listen to things around you. يعني هاي التشويشة اللي بتصير حوالينا that wants to pull us back or sometimes means well, you know, to alert you to certain dangers ولا risks ولا whatever. Being careful what you listen to because that will affect you. So if I listen to what people thought that I should do, I most likely would not have done most of the things that I would have done. This is where it's important to listen to yourself, Kamina, and your intuition plays a role. What makes you comfortable and what doesn't make you comfortable. But again, I go back to things that I could have done 10 years ago, but I was not comfortable enough to do it. So when you are in your comfort zone, yani, comfort zone, because you can never be in your comfort zone, right? The idea is that you need to challenge yourself. يعني هلا في ناس كتير بيقولوا لي كيف why on earth بعد 18 سنة بالبحرين you pick up and you move على الإمارات? Or why wouldn't you move to where your family is, Australia? For me, it was, I recognized that I was too comfortable. I was a big fish in a small pond. Everything's fine. Is that what I wanted forever? And could I withstand this forever? Or did I want to rock the boat and see what else is out there? So for me, it was actually, what scares me is getting too comfortable, taking things for granted around me. Because that's when I believe you become complacent and your growth stops.
And yeah, he said it. So what I'm hearing till now is at the beginning of our conversation, بلشنا ب having the awareness to be able to do all of this, understanding our limitations and boundaries, in embracing change, taking it day by day and shutting out the noise that is hammering us and listening to
Yeah,
what's inside of us, that's our intuition, and really get connected with that, and really forgiving yourself uh, whenever things get rough, or and understanding your needs. عارفة حالك إنه أنا I need to be discomforted ولا إذا I'm not discomforted I'm gonna become complacent, and that is not gonna be good for me, and that is not gonna be good for my growth, and this is what you have been doing.
exactly. But there's one thing that plays a huge role, and it's the people around you.
Yeah.
We are as good as the village around us, right? The people that we surround ourselves with. I could not have done anything if I didn't have a supportive family that I could, you know, pick up the phone and speak to and bounce ideas off. My friends, certain mentors, فكمان understanding who is around you and what language you are hearing around you, in the sense that if you're surrounding yourself with very negative people who are afraid of change, you're never going to get change. You'll never change, right? If you have a good mixture, then this is where you mitigate certain risks versus certain potential growth and harboring building a growth mindset. So I think, you know, we're as good as the people that we surround ourselves with as well.
Yeah. So if you're gonna summarize للعالم اللي عم يسمعونا اليوم ريما, what are your nuggets of wisdom يلي فيك تعطيهم هن عن personal growth?
Sit with yourself and have an inner conversation, which can take a very long time. So cut yourself some slack about where you need to be, where you think you desire to be. What are the inhibitions to get you there? What can you work on? What can you work with? And start from there. I learned to do something back in high school where we were taught as part of, it was a group about growth, to set goals every year. You set goals for that particular 12 months, for the next 5 years, and for the next 10 years. And then every year I sit back and I revisit them. I might not have achieved anything, that's fine, and they will change, the goalposts will move, but it's taking stock, sitting down and actually having the courage to take stock.
Yeah.
And to understand, what is it that you wanted and why did you change your mind? It could be the fact that you didn't change your mind, it was circumstance. What can we do with that circumstance? Be it financial, social, whatever.
Your wheel of life, basically. All of the elements of the wheel of life, that really evaluate that and where you are with respect to that, and where you want to be in the coming year, or in the coming 5 years, or in the coming 10 years, and keep re-evaluating it. And we love doing this also in coaching as vision boards. We love vision boards at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year, and it's like a ceremony.
Yes,
it is.
I like the word ceremony. I love it. Yeah. And we need to celebrate ourselves. We don't celebrate the little thing.
Yeah. And I guess that's the most important thing, is to enjoy the ride. Doing all of this by enjoying the ride. And enjoying the ride doesn't mean إنه بنضل مبسوطين كل الوقت. لا.
No.
It means إنه really مثل ما قلتي, just taking it day to day, and what's getting every day, and make the best out of it, and see how we can harbor what's coming.
100%.
So I want to thank you for your time. And this was a really interesting conversation on self-growth. I hope the people and the women listening to us are going to enjoy it as much as I did. أنا وياكي فينا نقعد نحكي ساعات.
I know.
we have done this before, so but ما راح نكتر أكتر من هالقد على الناس اللي عم تسمعنا. So thank you, Rima, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care.